champions like you. We really need champions like you. As a fellow Prince William County parent, I know we'd rather be here in the auditorium for one of our kids' events, a musical, a school play. But unfortunately, these are not normal times. We've endured government shutdowns, but nothing like this. We know that you have questions about the recent changes the federal government has announced and what it means for our community and our country, for our jobs, for our schools, for the most vulnerable members of our community, our seniors, our veterans. Families struggle to make ends meet, to pay the rent, to pay their utility bills, and to feed their children. As a parent and as a board chair, I know how concerned you are. It is my honor to advocate in Prince William County, and I know that Congressman Subramanian is doing everything that he can at the federal level. Because we know that as Americans, we depend on our dedicated civil servants. Prince William County is home to more than 30,000 federal workers, as well as several businesses that support the federal government. So whether you serve in uniform or in office, you are keeping us safe. And many of you take care of our nation's veterans and our seniors. We need your expertise. Only you can do what you do. Some folks, remember how our Aaron Barnward before President Nixon, yes, Nixon, signed the bill to law that created the EPA. We've seen all the FDA's food recalls, the DOT automobile recalls, and how it's covered. Who is going to fall for those not a federal worker? Without our air traffic control, there will be far more traffic accidents like the one that Reagan National last month. And only yesterday morning, a close call was reported there. Who prevented it from being closed? The air traffic controllers who have been understaffed since 1981. Our federal workers and federal contractors need our support, not to be blamed, scorned, or fired for doing their jobs, for keeping us safe. And to invest in their ability while keeping social standards. The 1/3 of our country's civil servants are veterans. They serve in uniform, oftentimes in war zones, and they are continuing to do so for their nation because they love the country. For me, again, this is personal. A lot of these people are people that I represent, people that I want to stand for. And again, I'm so honored to stand here with somebody who understands that and who's up there watching and fight for everyone in this room every single day. So to hear from our Prince William County representatives in Congress, and to voice your concern what's going on in Washington, we need to hear from you. We need to hear from you. Because none of us has lived through times such as this. So tonight, again, more than ever, make sure that your voices are heard, so that we can advocate for you and help you navigate this. I was handing out, we have resources also for county level, we have something for me, and I've released on that. But before I turn the mic over to my dear friend, I just want to say that I appreciate all these friends, everything that you're doing, and the responsiveness of your office has been to the needs of the representatives of the American. He's a father, former volunteer EMT, and now he is service commissioner, and now we have the pleasure of having him serve us in the Prince Justice Commission. So with that, let's give him another hand.
There's a lot going on. It's a pretty incredible time affect Social Security. There's foreign policy. Apparently we're buying Greenland. We're attacking Canada. There's immigration and these terrible ICE raids. There's education. We're getting rid of the Department of Education, apparently. There's the corruption that I think we need to be talking about more. Loyalty tests now that everyone has to take. That have nothing to do with the merits of the job. We still haven't talked about what we're going to do to raise the lower costs, housing, or just help fix the economy. Really, if anything, we're making costs higher with tariffs, right? Making costs higher with some of these moves that are happening in the federal government. Free speech and free press. Not only do we have press getting kicked out of the White House briefing room, but we have members of Congress getting letters from the DOJ when they say mean things about Donald Trump. And then we have attacks on our democracy. Like I said, there's so much more. I mean, I couldn't list them all, really. And what they're trying to do, I hear they're trying to flood the zone. And so my job is to build a dam over you, right? My job is to stop this flood. We had a similar, this is our first town hall in Prince William County. We had a town hall in Loudoun County, and we got a lot of action items from it. And people gave me a lot of really good feedback that we use. And so I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that we've done in the past month since then. We introduced legislation. Someone suggested a bill at one of our town halls that we actually ended up introducing. So if you have ideas for bills, trust me, we may end up introducing it and maybe try to get it passed, right? So share your ideas. You do matter. We're going to have folks here that are working on litigation. Like Nikki, who's going to be talking later on. But we've been supporting with some of these lawsuits. And in fact, I think we just got some breaking news that one of the lawsuits was successful in stopping the firings of the probationary workers, all probationary workers. We started a litigation task force in Congress to help with the litigation however we can. We launched some inquiries into the firing, especially I'm the ranking member of the subcommittee on military and foreign affairs in the oversight committee, so especially military firings, USAID, but also CABYs, Department of Education. On the oversight committee, we tried to subpoena Elon Musk and Doge, but the Republicans blocked it, unfortunately. We're going to keep trying to do that. I want them to come to our committee and testify so we can ask them questions, and then you guys should give me some good questions and ask them. I'm sure you have some, right? And then, we created a federal worker resource page. I know the county has one as well, but without some good feedback, we've gotten a lot of people visiting that as well. We opposed and spoke up against some of the things happening. Some of these rallies outside of USAID were started. We've gone to pretty much every other agency in town. I even tried to make people on TikTok, maybe tried to, I heard they were sleeping in some of the agencies, so I got a pillow and a blanket and tried to get into some, but to see if they'd let me sleep there. But, and then we held press conferences, shared your stories on the House floor. I got on the House floor. Apparently, I found out that we're allowed to go to the House floor as much as we want. I started going every day, driving us not crazy. But I go every day and share a story or something happening in our district and in our region, because people have to know what's going on, right? People have to know. There's all the things we're doing, all the other stuff. Again, there's no plan to lower costs. We're going to create one. We're bringing up ideas. Right? We're trying to prevent the bad stuff that raise costs. The other thing is, we're going to talk a lot about the impact on federal workers. Is anyone here a federal worker or married to one or related to one or a contractor even? I'm not a federal worker and I hear they make good salaries, they're probably easy. And I'm like, you know what? These are the people that keep you safe. These are the people that do the research to make sure that you're government more efficient or better. It's about revenge on political enemies. Why would you come to the Department of Education to drop in the bucket? If you fired every civil servant, I asked the GAO person this, if you fire every civil servant, you still get less than 10% of the money we spend every year. It's not going to move the needle at all. This is not about cost cutting. Do not let anyone say this. This is about control. This is about revenge. This is about all the worst things that our democracy was meant to prevent. So we have to stop it. There's been a lot of things, but there's one thing I want to go back to, which is the Republican House passed a budget yesterday, and basically what it's going to do if it ends up going into law is it's going to cut Medicaid, and it's going to cut SNAP benefits. And so think of all the people. We have Medicaid expansion. We have our state senator, Danica Rome, who's going to be speaking soon. The push on SNAP and making sure our schools and our kids don't go hungry, right? And so they've got an education. So these folks in Virginia, we put together a plan and we implemented it. We passed into law to expand Medicaid to people who needed it. Any cut to Medicaid at the federal level would mean that all those people who benefit from Medicaid expansion will not get Medicaid anymore. And what that means, so I had a lot of people, not a lot, but a few people reach out and say, well, I don't get Medicaid. These people are freeloaders, right? And so what I would say to them is that if someone loses Medicaid, they're much more likely to go to the emergency room. They're much more likely to take up resources in their healthcare system. And most importantly, they're going to raise your healthcare premiums and healthcare costs because the hospitals have to raise the prices, the insurance companies will raise the prices. It will break our healthcare system if we cut Medicaid. So we cannot let this budget pass. We have to hold the line. So just want to make sure we know that. And the last thing before we get to some of the folks who joined us is people asked me the last time on, and even since, what can I do about it? I feel kind of helpless sometimes. And I just want to say that you have a lot of power, And I know that it's tough right now, but this is the time to resist. This is the time to speak up. So, I've talked to a lot of people who have come to my office, maybe they represent an organization with a lot of people, or they serve a lot of people through their nonprofits, and they say, all this stuff is happening, all these cuts are going to be terrible. And so I tell them, speak up, tell us about it, tell the people about it, tell your members and organizations about it. They say, well, I'm afraid that I'll get targeted by the Trump administration. And what I'd say to us, yes, you know your organizations, you got to do what you got to do, but don't be afraid. This is not the time right now to be afraid. Come to me at least, right? And tell me your story. I'm not afraid, right? We're in Congress, we're not afraid. They're going to try to silence us. We're not going to be silenced. But we have to hear your stories. We have to have people who speak up. We have to have people that fight back right now. And the second thing I would say is get involved. And this is a great time to get organized and tell your friends who are yelling at the TV to, yes, yell at the TV, and then come out and tell your stories and come out and get involved. One of the best things, the worst thing about Virginia is we have elections every year, for instance, and we have special elections as well in April too, and so it's not a political event, but intense, right? If that's what you want to do, and nothing else, you can flood the ballot box, right? But it flood the zone. And another thing is, please keep sharing your stories because we share them and they have made an impact. People have shared stories that we broadcast that ended up turning into action. And you've seen so many instances of the administration recoiling, of saying they made a mistake, of turning back. We've seen so many instances of the courts trying to stop things because they've heard of what's going on. And the more information we have, the more stories we have, the better. So that's why we wanted to have something like this here in Prince County. We're going to have more and more of these throughout. If the Republicans in Congress are not going to do real oversight, maybe we'll have a lot of oversight here in Virginia, right? There's two very important people in here before we get started who may answer some of your questions, but will at least be able to help us answer some. First, Nikki McKinney is the Senior Advisor for Policy and Public Affairs at Democracy Forward. very, very successful. And so I'm going to make these safety words and then just pass over to Jenny. Jenny's the Vice President of Government Affairs at Partnerships with Public Service. So if you're a federal employee or if you know a federal employee who needs help or resources or just someone to talk to or share their story, this organization is fantastic. And so I'm going to hand it over to Nikki for a second for these safety words.
Thank you very much, Congressman. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I will also flag that my little girl is over here tonight, so thank you for showing me what democracy is like. She's not actually watching. She's probably watching Bluey, but I know it's some Jenny. So thank you again. It's also a really sort of an honor and a privilege because I'm a neighbor, I'm a constituent, and it's the first time I've had an opportunity to speak in this role amongst my neighbors. So thank you for having me. As the Congressman said, I am Senior Policy Advisor at Democracy Forward. If you've never heard of us, don't worry. We are a small nonprofit organization, part of a broader group of civil society organizations that are pro-democracy and try to hold leaders at the federal, state, and local level accountable for unlawful actions. I know I want to leave time for your questions, but I just want to let you know, give you some of the highlights of the work that the organization has been doing over the past 5 weeks. We are 1 month into the Trump administration and Democracy Forward and other similarly situated organizations. We filed more than 80 lawsuits against 30 executive orders. It is a lot. I'm not a lawyer. I don't even pretend to be one on television. I'm here representing a group of about 60 litigators across the country who work for our organization, who are every day looking out for you, your communities, and your families. A couple of examples. When the Office of Management and Budget federal funding freeze memo was issued, our litigators within 24 hours were in court in order to seek a temporary restraining order to put a clause on that. We were successful in getting that temporary restraining order, and just several days ago, we were successful in getting a nationwide preliminary injunction by the court in order to ensure that funding is still going out for essential services that we all rely on, whether it is housing, individuals who are experiencing homelessness, Head Start, you name it, that money is still flowing. In addition, we sued to block implementation of the anti-DEI orders as a violation of free speech, and just last Friday, a judge issued a preliminary injunction blocking the administration from implementing that executive order. And as a nice conduit to what the Congressman was talking about and what my colleague is going to talk about, Democracy Forward filed a first of its kind last complaint with the U.S. Office of Special Counsel. The Office of Special Counsel is a unique entity that supports the rights of federal employees. We filed a class complaint with the Office of Special Counsel to halt the firing of those probationary employees. We filed originally on behalf of 6. We were able to, then it goes to the MSPB. This is all a lot of like inside fieldway jargon that nobody knows about. But at the end of the day, we won. That is a separate lawsuit from the one that the Congressman discussed because we won, as the Congressman said, the administration is trying to focus on organizations like mine, similarly like what trying to focus on at the full level in order to protect Americans and our democracy and our communities. I'm happy to take any questions. We have a lot of resources that I will also share with you, but I want to make sure we leave time for your questions. Thank you for being here tonight. Hello, good evening. It's great to see you all, and many thanks to the Congressman for inviting us to be here. is schedule policy career? What are your rights for relocation and reassignment? We've also got data around probationary periods and what those mean, what administrative leave is. And we've got webinars. If you haven't seen them, they've been going out there. There are explainer series. And so we have ones on everything from what are your appeal rights, what are your rights as a probationary period employee, career health, because some of you are now facing the unfortunate decision to have to go for a different job and a different journey here. And so we've got some help with coaches around thinking about resumes, career support services, and also for those of you who are still in, we've got some leadership support webinars. And so we will be putting up more. Encourage you to let us know what your questions are, tell your stories as well, because like the Congressman said, one of the best ways to help everyone understand the impact of government is to talk about what you do. And so we do have a story wall on our website. We encourage you to share stories to the extent that you're comfortable. And then finally, I'll just share, we can answer some questions, but I thought I'd share real quick some of the top tips that we've been hearing from our guests on our webinar series. Things you can do as a federal employee right now. The first one, if you haven't done it already, is download your EOPF, so your personnel file. Make sure you have the papers that tell you what your status is. You'll have to print a form called SF50. It tells you if you're competitive service, accepted service, or you're probationary. You need to know those things because you need to understand what your rights are for some of the actions that we've talked about. Also, if you have questions, there are people who can help you. There are federal benefits experts who can talk to you about early retirement. There are attorneys out there who are federal employment attorneys who can help you answer legal questions. So just encourage you to do that. And if you've seen some of these actions out there, but in your federal employees want to know how they impact you, if you go to the Chief Human Capital Officers Council website, that's where a lot of those memos are posted that actually go into detail about what the executive orders mean and how they'll impact your agencies. So just encourage you to tell stories, to make sure you understand your own status, and then to also just keep following the news so that you can stay on top of what's happening, because it changes so quickly. And so with that, happy to answer questions as well. And with that,
really appreciate it, and we'll be there in Congress to back you up whatever you need. So we have a couple elected officials we want to hear from first, and so like State Senator Hank Orem and School Board Chair Bob, please say a few words.
Hi, greetings from someone who's actually trying to do government in a normal way. So my name is Dan Crum. I'm a state senator representing the city of Manassas, our city of Manassas, and western Prince William County. Really glad to be joined by my former seatmate from both the House of Delegates and State Senate, with Representative Subramanian here tonight. You're doing a great job. Please keep it up. Please keep advocating for federal workers and contractors and everyone who's being affected right now. For those of you who are wondering, like, okay, what can you do with the state? What can Commonwealth government do? What happens if you reach out to our office? Number one, we can help you with relocation. Number one, if you need to be connected with the Virginia Employment Commission in case you lost your job, that's something that we can absolutely help you with. Number two, while Medicaid still exists, we can very much help you with that. Please feel free to contact our office. You can also, if you look up Cover VA for Medicaid, source Google, that's an option for you as well. And then to piggyback on something that our congressman here said, please share your stories with us. It is so important. During the last 2 weeks of the Virginia Assembly session, we were hearing people just really saying derogatory things on the Senate floor about federal workers and contractors specifically, including one member who said that if you were a contractor who got a job, you landed a contract with FedEx, and then you lost your job, that was a quote, piss poor planning, and it's another quote. This is a commonwealth. This is a commonwealth. It does not matter where you live in Virginia. All of us should care about all of us. When we had a flooding in far southwest Virginia, you know what our Democratic majorities in the House and Senate did? They made sure to include tens of millions of dollars to help out people who will never vote for us because it was the right thing to do. So just a couple of quick updates from Richmond. Number one, I was really glad to be able to pass 13 bills on y'all's behalf this year. Number two, I was also making sure that we were able to vote for a budget that included raising the standard deduction, that included $200 and $400 for right rebates back to you this fall, as well as one that also included more refundability for earning from tax credit. And we also made sure that we were giving a bonus to teachers and pay raises for state employees as well. All of that still has to be signed. We're expecting a lot of you from the governor. We still have a lot more to do. And as I know one of our other folks here from the school board, Dr. T, appreciate that we were able to also eliminate the support cap. So making sure that education is as close to fully funded as we can get. So last thing I'm just going to say here is that when it comes to priorities from the state government right now, I think it is so much more important that parties put aside differences, work together, figuring out what are we going to do for the people who are out of work, for the economic hit that comes to Northern Virginia. What are we going to prioritize to take care of your safety and to take care of your finances? Instead of what we've seen, where our governor went to the White House and went to Mar-a-Lago, not to advocate for federal workers, and when he said, yes, he supports downsizing federal government. You know what he even said internally was telling school trans kids they can't play sports anymore. That's why he went to the White House, not to look out for your work. What Congressman Humane is talking about tonight is looking out for your finances and our economy here in Northern Virginia. Let's stay focused, let's stay priorities, let's make sure that we are prioritizing our region, and let's take care of each other as we all need so much help right now. Thank you so much.
I'm chairman of the school board, Bob McKee. My wife has been working with MIH, the research scientist you mentioned, doing that kind of work. She's been getting crazy emails, funds cut, all kinds of jobs cut, all kinds of opportunities for our children to do research or students to do research getting cut. I want to thank you for the work you're doing. Some of the great legislation he's talking about, maybe it was some of the folks that recommended it, but he wants to put the limits on DOJ. It needs to be public, it needs to be transparent, it needs to be reporting to the Congress, which is the people, and it needs to be protecting so that national security, we have folks who don't have any national security credentials in there making decisions about folks who are in charge of national security, and that's awful. We know that people with stable jobs have stable families, and that means stable kids in my school, and stable success, great student success. We have to protect the jobs here. I can't thank this congressman for as much as he's done. Both of us dealt with Trump 1.0. He was in the legislature and a senator, and we're going to deal with him at 2.0. And while we dealt with him at 1.0, we made our schools much more successful. We paid teachers a lot more money because we know good jobs means great economic success for our state. And so I want to thank the congressman for doing that, being here tonight to help listen to us and the stories. I'm going to ask each of you a question. What does a Medicaid patient look like?
My dad.
Take a look at your neighbor. Okay? Take a look at your neighbor. I am an ophthalmologist, one of the few in the region who take all the Medicaid. Medicaid patients look like us. Someone who might have lost their job last month. Someone who might have lost their job 3 months ago. Someone who might have lost their job yesterday. It is the safety net for our community to come on hard times. Not because it's something they did. That is who we are. And Congressman Subramanian is protecting that work, and I can't thank him enough. That is the work I deal with on the front line every single day. I deal with our students. A couple things he did. He listed a little bit. DEI, the attack. Tomorrow, the president has said any school division doesn't close their DEI office, we'll cut federal funding. Well, folks, tomorrow we proceed as usual, and I'll see him in court. who are going to tell us how we can do something on legal action. And I'm telling you folks, we're the school divisions across the Commonwealth spend a lot of money on legal fees that should be going into the classroom to do our core business of teaching writing, arithmetic, and reading. We're not doing that as much as we need to be doing, and so I can't thank you enough for talking about what we can do in the court. Thank you so much.
We'll give you about a minute and a half per person. I won't be too hard on you about time, and we'll just go through and hopefully everyone can get their question or story. Say your name and where you're from before you start. Okay.
My name is Susan Biden. On social media is Susan Perry. I apologize for my voice. I have stage 4 cancer. I'm a retired school teacher with Fauquier County Public Schools. But cancer manifested. I live in Fauquier County. I have my husband is a retired postal worker, and his retirement is in the Department of OPM, now run by the however you say. My husband has breathing signs of Parkinson's and chronic asthma. Get to the tough part. My son, who's a substitute teacher, has cystic fibrosis. It's a genetic disease he was born with. He's lucky to be alive. He was on a list for a lung transplant. Thanks to drug breakthroughs in science, he is now 38 years old, and his lung function went from 19% to 48%. That's still not enough, but they're killing the science. They're killing the research. They're cutting the funds. And he still works for the CDC, who was just fired. I call it fired. They call it permanent death. Thank you for having us here. Thank you all for being here. We have to share our healthcare stories. If we don't, they don't care about us. I know you do, Congressman, but they're out of touch. They need to hear from us. So promise me, everyone, you'll continue to share your stories. Thank you.
We have punch cards. So.
I'm waiting for my check, by the way. I also just want to tell you, I called your office a few times, and the people answering your phones are attentive and responsive and wonderful. So I would encourage everybody to call. They don't know that what we're thinking unless we let them know. And the next thing I want to say, remind everybody, is that the midterms are coming. But this is no time for complacency, it's time for action. So don't sit back and wait for somebody else to write the postcards or whatever. Get out there and see what you can do to step up and help. And I have a couple of questions. The first one is, what's going to happen to those AIDS drugs that are sitting in warehouses that USAID was supposed to hand out to Africa? They're sitting there, they're not being handed out. Are we going to hand Africa over to China, to Russia, whatever? So that's the first question. And the second question is, somebody who was Republican for a really long time, I do know that there are some Republicans that are not horrible. Some of them have to be thinking something. Are they afraid for their lives? They can't all just be afraid to not be reelected. What's the issue here?
Yeah. On the AIDS drugs and really the work of USAID, I've tried to say it over and over again. If you cut USAID, the work that they're doing, you better double or triple your defense budget. There's going to be conflicts, there's going to be extremism, there's going to be wars across the globe. The work they were doing was our soft power around the globe. And I thought our Secretary of State knew that. He'd said that for years. All of a sudden, again, I said this is the time for courage. This is the time to not be afraid. But they're not doing it. So I don't know what's going to happen. But I'll say that we're going to do everything we can to try to make sure that at least we do something with this. Right? On the what Republicans would think the decent Republican. I mean, to me, it's like if you're a Trump voter, I forgive you, but you were lied to, right? You were told that Project 2025 wasn't his agenda. You were told that his priority was lowering costs. You were told that all this stuff was about making government efficient, and none of that was true. At least not so far, and I don't think it's going to be. And so,
the price of eggs haven't gone down either.
Yeah, the price of eggs haven't gone down either. They've gone up, and tariffs aren't going to help. I know that. So thank you for sharing your story. I appreciate it.
Hi, Congressman. My name is Bobby. I live in Loudoun County. This is my son Ryan. Ryan is 12 years old, and he was born with congenital heart defects. After 3 open heart surgeries, he was diagnosed with an extremely rare lung disease. He is one of 12 reported cases worldwide. There is no treatment or cure for what he has. He's in 7th grade now. He gets around in a motorized wheelchair. His bones are deteriorating over time, and his joints are getting increasingly stuck in that position. But he's funny and talented and social and so generous. And we are terrified. We are terrified that we are going to lose Medicaid that provides care, therapy, doctor's appointments, and equipment that he needs, not just to survive, but to thrive. In this country, we're not here just to survive. Our kids deserve to thrive. We are terrified that the cuts are going to affect special education, which allows him to get the support he needs to attend school with other kids. He made honorable because of the support that he's gotten. We are terrified that the cuts to research are going to affect any possibility, any hope we have of finding a treatment or a cure. And we are terrified that taking DEIA away is going to impact his ability to access everything we get to access in this amazing state. And the inclusivity that he should be guaranteed, just like any other child is. So we're grateful to you, and we just ask you to continue to advocate for us and for families like us, because there are a lot of us here, and we greatly appreciate your support and the support of anyone else that can help us.
One thing to note, I'm on the science committee. These cuts to NIH, NSF, and all these science and technology endeavors and research will set us back for many years. And even a couple of weeks of frozen funding to the lab sets them back many, many months, or sometimes cuts off the project altogether. And so this is very, very serious. Some of this is irreversible damage. We have to do everything we can to stop those cuts. There's no reason for them. They're not the reason why we have a federal deficit. And so thank you for sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming, Congressman. My name is Patty Kins, and I live here in Gainesville. And I'm a member of the Board of Directors for the Haymarket Regional Food Pantry. So I'm here to speak about food insecurity. These people are living on or below the poverty line and don't know where their next meal will come from. According to Feeding America, you are now standing in the county that has the highest food insecurity rate in Northern Virginia. In nearly 500,000 residents, 37,000 of the are food insecure, and 11,460 are children. Further statistics state that the average cost of a meal for an individual in Prince William County is $4.49. For a family of 4, that's $17.96 per meal. Multiply that by 3 meals a day, and it costs a family of 4 $53.88 every day, or $377 a week to eat. For so many, this is a massive burden. And sadly now, the burden will grow with the firing of so many federal workers. This past year, the pantry served almost 60,000 people. We will continue to help as much as we can, but pantries have always been a food supplement, not a food source. We need you and your colleagues to fight for those greatest in need. The board will be inviting you soon to come to our pantry and see the work we're doing here in Prince William County. And we hope by establishing a relationship, we can work together to help the most vulnerable in our community and give them the support to thrive. Again, thank you for coming and thank you for listening.
The Wednesday following the inauguration, our contracts were all cut because they were DEI related. The one I was working on was focused on women and STEM. I really believe that the United States is the country we are, not in spite of the government, but because of it. So whatever we can do to support you, let us know. Thank you so much.
Greetings. Regarding Speaker Johnson's question regarding being paid, in God we trust. I have 3 main concerns. One, the total of all lawsuits looks to be outweighing the cuts. What are we doing to project the damages that are being paid on multiple levels? The lawsuits, the attorney fees, are we running those numbers projected so that Doge can see that we're already in the hole? 2, ending or cutting welfare, SNAP, Medicaid will cause desperation and crime rates to raise. I'm an independent artist and contractor. I'm over 50. I'm not Medicaid. Are we prepared for national martial law? When that desperation of everybody getting their welfare cut, or simply not accounting for people that have already been receiving food money, there's going to be issues that people are going to have to face. I've seen some tough times. I have friends who've been taught at 5 years old to push a grocery cart full of groceries out of the door as you're waiting to get groceries. I saw 2 days after the George Floyd incident downtown the people in Lafayette Square. I saw on TV what took place to handle that square. That was one incident of a difficulty and an unaddressed issue. Thirdly, freedom of speech has its limitations. One is fighting words. What I am seeing from the President of Administration 47 is fighting words on a level I've never seen or perceived. That's incorrect. In 2017, there was a bit of a flash of the future, and we're I actually had a meeting with you on opening night of some of your office downtown. I met you and got what I was speaking to you about. It had to do with some of those difficult future visions of darkness. We, the people of these United States of America, are a microcosm of planet Earth. My family is all nations. Your family is all nations. From all seas to all shining seas. You know this. We all know this. If that starlight connected light of God is that common one bond that we all have, we know that. Fighting words and dropping a video on Instagram regarding Gaza, Trump depicting bearded dancing women, apparently all of a sudden the trans situation is okay. Maybe that's just appeasing people. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. This is an insult to both my Palestinian family as well as my Israeli family. So it's an insult to my family from Jordan, from Syria, Saudi Arabia, France, Germany, Finland. My father's been to Antarctica. He flew a Sikorsky helicopter and landed at the Russian station where we found out that there's a brother named Sikorsky as well who makes helicopters in Russia. Thank you for your time. My question was, is there a way for we the people to present, we the people of the United States, to present a case against the President of Administration 47 for fighting words of freedom of speech violations?
Like I said, even if you're flooding the room with a lot of things, the attacks on freedom of speech should not be let go. And certainly some of these fighting words that you're talking about, some of these things, we shouldn't ignore them. Because even if they're meant to be a joke, it's not funny, right? I saw that video about Gaza, a big gold statue of Trump in the middle of the new Gaza he plans to build. It's not funny, right?
Neither is it funny for him to go on stage and say that Russia invaded Ukraine and deployed death squads against.
Absolutely. And so I think that there's a cruelty in our politics that I haven't seen in a long time, and a lack of empathy. And I think we have to figure that out. We have to fight that as well. Really quickly, I mean, I know lawyers are expensive, but they're worth it in this case, right? In fact, some of them are working for free. What is costly is if we fire a bunch of scientists who are doing groundbreaking work, if we fire air traffic controllers who are keeping our skies safe, if we're making the government workers there work extra hours and overtime and they're not able to do their job, it's going to cost us a lot more money down the road. And so that's, an ounce of prevention, right? That's what this is really going to cost us. And I'm really worried that this is irreversible damage. That's the cost that I see. Those are not saving us money, it's costing us money.
I'm Leo Pepper. I'm from Leesburg, Virginia. I really appreciate the opportunity to tell my story. And I will just say your staff is utterly fantastic. They've just been wonderful all my interactions.
You're not paid, right?
I am not paid. It's just amazing. So thank you for that. So for my story, I'm a 20-year Navy veteran. I entered the Navy right after age 18, right in high school. The Navy was absolutely wonderful, lots of opportunity, enabled me to go and get my bachelor's degree, my master's degree. After I came out of the Navy, I was working in aerospace and defense industry. I always loved being able to serve my country directly. I got the opportunity where I applied to the Department of Agriculture. I got accepted for a position, which was wonderful. The the idea of being able to work for an agency that was tasked with defending our food supply, making sure our food is safe and deliverable, was absolutely wonderful from my perspective. I was there for about a month. As a new employee, I was on probation, and as the story goes, I got my termination notice after about a month being employed by Department of Agriculture. So with that being said, one of the things that was very disappointing, again, was the termination said that it was performance-based, which is an absolutely untrue statement, which again, just touches to the core, having served my country, both in the military and afterwards, to be said that I'm being terminated for performance issues, which is utterly untrue, just cut me to the quick. So from my position, obviously, and it's not just for myself, I had 2 other veterans that were also hired at the same time, those have been cut. I also have friends that are in non-military, non-government jobs that have also recently been terminated. So we're seeing a very large roll-down effect based on all these terminations that are coming out of the government. For my friends that are still employed, I just see a lot of fear. We talk about this every time I get together with my friends. They're concerned about their jobs, they're concerned about their families, they're concerned about paying their bills. Even with my termination, those are considerations for myself, being able to go ahead and pay my mortgage. One of the things that I look at is that this country has always been wonderful to its veterans, but I just look at that and say, if this is the way that the country is going to treat its veterans by terminating their service to the country, again, that's very disappointing from my perspective. So I greatly appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. Thank you again for listening.
Federal workers, even especially in our area, are veterans, and when they're talking about taking away benefits, retirement benefits, they're talking about firing people and stuff. We heard a lot from veterans who went to the federal workforce, and this is affecting our veterans community here. So thank you for that.
Hi, I'm Rena Staff. I live in Bristow. I first want to say thank you to Congressman, State Senator, Chairman Lateef, and Chairperson Jefferson for being here tonight. I was in the lobby of the Leesburg Town Hall a few weeks ago, and the overflow of the overflow. And I really appreciate that you stayed late to hear all of us that wanted to speak and that you actually listened. I saw how you took people's talking points and all of that anger and that energy from the crowd, and you used it when you were speaking in Congress and in news interviews. And it's great to be represented by an elected official that actually represents the people and what we want. I was zoned for a different congressman who only cared about the votes in Norfolk, and I don't know how we're in the same area of Norfolk. But thank you for being here for us. At that town hall, we urged you to impress upon the Oversight Committee to look into DOGE and to do what you can to stop Elon Musk and his illegal actions. And I see you introduced the Leash DOGE Act. It's great. How likely do you think it is that this will go further than just lip service? With the Republicans holding the majority in the House and the Senate, do you believe any will cross party lines to help get this or any other similar legislation actually adopted? And another question that I do have, that since Senator Rome's here, does anyone know how many Virginians have currently filed for unemployment because of all the cuts, because of DOGE?
She said 300.
300, all right.
The first one on whether the DOGE accountability legislation will move. Right now it's not going to. Right now, Republicans have been completely in line. The president, quite frankly, afraid of the president, really. I heard a rumor that Elon's going to fund a primary against any Republican who crosses him, right? And so there's that fear of wanting to keep your job. Well, it's our task, I think, or my task at least, to one, put forward ideas that are common sense. I think the DOGE folks and Elon Musk himself should come before a committee if they're doing all this work. If they're so proud of their work and their work is so good, then what are you afraid of coming in front of us and answering questions about it?
rock the boat with one of your early votes, but I hope you know now that we want you to rock the boat. We want you to stick with the voting for you if you represent us, and you have been doing a great job so far. I'm a big fan. And I do love the social media bits. It's been a lot of fun to have some levity in these very stressful times. And next time you're going to have a sleepover where Doge is, let me know, I'll bring a blanket.
Good evening, everyone. For speaking, this is my strong suit on the speech I wrote to help me out here. First of all, thank you for having us able to voice our stories. I feel it's important and my story here as well. Early last year, my wife Callie took her oath as a civil servant. Something she had wanted to do for years because she had felt she could make a difference in a small way for others, for her country. The way she was hired quite a period. During her tenure, she worked extremely hard, as she always does, regularly taking on extra work. She worried about the stress she was putting herself through. She put herself in the hospital in the past with stress from a previous job. I did not want that to happen again. But she assured me it was okay. She had a good team and she'd be fine. Her hard work paid off. She got a glowing evaluation with numerous awards and recognition. During late summer of last year, unfortunately, she was diagnosed with cancer. During the first surgery, she went back to work early against 90 issues. Basically, the next day when she was home, she called and asked if she could look at her laptop. And the boss was like, no. you recover. That's the type of person she is. She just didn't want to leave her colleagues or short staff. She scheduled her doctor visits around work so that she wouldn't interfere. She had another surgery recently. This one was more severe, more serious, requiring a longer downtime. She doesn't sit still well, and she just wanted to do her work. Again, she called work, and she would come back early, and they laughed at her. Mid-February, while recovering at home, the job she worked so hard for, putting her health on the line, fired her unceremoniously because of, and I quote, so this is what the letter, I'm sure you all know, says, quote, ability, knowledge, and skills do not fit the agency's current needs, and your performance has not been adequate to justify further employment of the agency, end quote. This is despite glowing reviews and recognition from her supervisors and peers. The same woman, when they were married, she went through her undergrad, she's still upset over a B that she got in one class. Fired for inadequate performance. Right. She was now last year on probation, and they just indiscriminately fired her, along with many others, because of some illegal Doge directive. She's the kind of person that when her boss called her to tell her about the bad news, she comforted her boss. The boss was in tears, so she told her who it was. That's the type of person she is. That's the type of person we are. She loves efficiency. She loves finding ways to make things go faster and better. She has done it to help her coworkers, and ultimately that helps her people. That's what these people find: dedicated, efficient, capable people. We have seen time and again over the last month where these people are literally destroying lives indiscriminately. Our story has one of far too many, and this madness needs to stop. Thank you for giving me the stage to voice our story.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm from Marshall, Virginia. So in 2017, after I graduated college, I started as a contractor on IT enterprise systems for the Department of Veterans Affairs. Sorry. Is that better? So for the past 8 years, I've been working on systems. We support veterans' health care, home loans, education benefits, life insurance, a lot of PACT Act outreach and changes to benefits, and just a bunch of other things. We touch all systems of the VA. We have been led by some of the most compassionate, caring, passionate people. They are extremely talented, and we are hemorrhaging talent. Probationary does not mean just a year. We have lost people for 20 years of service, 15 years of service, people who are veterans, their spouses are veterans, their children are veterans, they care so much. They are triaging these production issues until 2 in the morning. They're there on weekends, during the Super Bowl, during Christmas, during vacations. There are people calling from the beach. And these people are being hired for performance, obviously. We're losing so much talent, and people are bragging that, oh, this money is going to the veterans. We handle transactions for all of the payments that are needed. There's no change coming there. We would have to handle it. The benefit isn't going to the veterans. They're losing talent, they're losing advocates, and all that I ask is you fight this with the same passion and drive that the people that you serve on the battlefield do.
Hello, I'm Mark Allen, a past president and current board member of the Department of Purdue, but most people know me as Cassie's dad. Cassie was born with an intellectual disability. This is a permanent condition. She will require support her entire life. Cassie graduated from the wait list until the age of 29 when she was finally approved for a Medicaid waiver. Today, she's thriving in her own apartment to support the new waiver. But just a year later, someone pulled the rug out from under her. The recently passed House budget resolution would destabilize the lives of millions of Americans with disabilities. The resolution calls for the Energy and Commerce Committee to cut at least $880 billion from the programs it oversees. Much of that would have to come from Medicaid. And for what purpose? $4.5 trillion of tax cuts skewed toward the wealthiest among us. 60% of those tax cuts go to the top 10%. 30% goes to just the top 1%. A just society would not strip support from people like Cassie to help billionaires build larger yachts. Please continue to support people in need. Please continue to resist the clowns with chainsaws ripping support from people with disabilities.
Thank you for coming, Congressman. My name is Dr. Andrew English. I'm a historian by trade. Live in beautiful Rappahannock County, Gateway to Blue Ridge. But I am a retired military veteran. I received the Bronze Star in Iraq. I have range service. I have homes for it, but that did not keep me away from violence. Was an Eagle Scout. I grew up in a food insecure family. I am the descendant of a former ruler who thought mistakenly he had all the power, King Charles I, who learned the wrong way, at the wrong end of an axe. A brief observation, we have a treaty with Denmark honoring their claim to Greenland, dated August 4, 1916, signed by Robert Lansing, the Secretary of State. We are a country of laws. We support our allies. Denmark has been an ally. We support NATO. I have an ask coming up in a minute. I'm standing here in honor of Sanji Komodo, who is a Nisei soldier, whose family was interned, who was shot and wounded, was denied medical care and lost his sight. And when we asked him, why did you fight for America? Without hesitation, he said, Kuni no Tume. That translates into for the country. He had a belief that this country could become better than what it was in 1944. I grew up in the segregated South. I left the segregated South, and I vowed never to stand by and let that happen again. We owe a debt to General Brown, former Chief of Naval Operations, to restore it. I have met the Tuskegee Airmen. I have met the Nisei soldiers. They had belief in this country. I grew up poor. I tasted poverty. But because of hard work, I've made it out. And I might be looking at going back into it. But here is my ask. My ask is not just to win back seats from Congress and control the budget. My ask is a counterattack. Because Russia has interfered in our elections, I ask you to submit a bill to remove diplomatic recognition from Russia. They are the aggressor.
I ask you to curtail Chinese diplomatic representation in this country. I also ask that in honor of the Virginians, you had mentioned Virginia standing up on June 12, 1776, Virginia had a Declaration of Rights. And one of those declarations of rights was defense against maladministration, which is what we have right now. Signed by the founding fathers, George Mason, inspired Thomas Jefferson to write the Bill of Rights. I still have rights in the Bill of Rights. One of which is the 10th Amendment that says those powers not given to the federal government or curtailed by the state belong to me, the individual. I request a recall vote, a petition to recall the President of the United States and all cabinet members who did not uphold their oath. I took an oath, and that is to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. The Declaration of Rights, I'm about to leave, the Declaration of Rights signed in 1776 said the power derives from the people. You said earlier we have the power. Let's take it back. I want a writ of mandamus against Doge, which is not a department at all. I want a writ of mandamus commanding the president to do his duty he swore to do or be stepped down from office.
First, I want to thank you for your service during these extremely difficult, unprecedented times, and to your staff as well. I was a legislative aide on the Senate side of the Hill for 5 years for Senator Brian Shaw, and I know how hard it is to work on the Hill. So I want to thank you for your work and the sacrifices you made for all the work you do. I want to quickly show this away my mask, and in hopes that it may be helpful to you as you continue your efforts at your own to combat the shocking purge of government and what it can solve our democracy. I'm currently a federal worker on trial period or probation, though I have 7 years guard service. I've recently taken up a new job at the school system. I work in legislation and policy. And tomorrow, I'm very fearful that I will likely get fired. I have many friends and former coworkers now that have been either put on administrative leave or fired altogether, and on totally illegitimate grounds. People's lives, constituents of yours like me, are deeply affected. I'm worried for my job security, the security of our nation, for all our neighbors, our communities, our economy, my family, my mental health, and our basic constitutional rights. I need Congress to meet this moment with urgency it deserves. Having been a former staffer, I need you to get with your colleagues to do the same, to do what you're doing. I need you to press to your colleagues that this is in fact a hill to die on, that our democratic principles cannot stand for the cowardice that I'm so pissed at the members of Congress. I'm sick of reading articles. I'm sick of reading articles on the Hill, Politico, roll call, whatever it is, where senators are going back through meetings and disavowing Doge or anything the Trump administration is doing, but they don't have any nerve to go to a microphone and say it. And I'm so over it. I need our country to meet this moment. I am scared. Things just seem so fragile and silence is deafening. So thank you for the opportunity to speak. Thank you for everything you're doing. I really appreciate it. I know you're working hard and your staff is working extremely hard. And I think you're doing good work for the country. So keep doing that.
Doesn't mean it's permanent, doesn't mean we won by any means, but it's right now being prevented from happening in the short term. If you're
Yeah, sure. With regards to the question that came through Zoom and our class complaint at OSC, we did go back to the Office of Special Counsel and ask them to expand the stay, which is temporary while we continue, while the Office of Special Counsel continues to do its investigation into whether or not probationary employees were unlawfully fired. So in the case of Democracy Forward file, in our class complaint with OSC, it does currently apply to those 6 employees, but we did go back to OSC just yesterday to say, okay, those 6 employees are not unique in any way. You should do this, you should halt it across the board. The decision that the judge in San Francisco issued, which I've not yet read in its entirety because it happened 25 minutes before this meeting started, so it's not actually publicly available yet. He said he's still drafting it. He, in that case, as I'm reading it online, I know I'm telling you a powerful story, so if it looks like I'm not paying attention, it's just because I'm trying to get caught up. It also applies to the individuals that those federal unions sued on behalf. So it's not a lot of them all wrong. I believe it's NSF and it's DOD, and there are several agencies. The judge ordered the government, they said, he said, I'm looking, this is a direct quote that is in, which you can read online if you go. The judge told the government, I am looking for the government to do the right thing here. This case is about these specific agencies. You should do it across the board. You should do the right thing now. We will see if the government does that. But either way, when it comes to flooding and home, we've got 2 packets. We have the case that the federal unions filed and the case that we have, which is in federal court, and the case that we filed with the Office of Special Counsel. I hope that clarifies things. It does not mean that ultimately probationary employees won't be fired. Nothing is a panacea. I promise you we are fighting. And if you are in particular a federal employee here in this room, in addition to the resources that the partnership has for you, our organization has what's called civilservicestrong.org. I will say it again, civilservicestrong.org. You can go to our website, you can put in your story there, because the more stories we have, excuse me, we may be able to file additional cases. So please go there, there's also a host of resources for you.
So one quick thing on resources, and so many of you are probationers, just because these cases are going on, it doesn't impact you tomorrow or the next day right now. It impacts those cases. So you can still go to Civil Service Strong. We've got our website. We did a webinar last night with actually somebody from Democracy Forward around what are the rights of probationers and how you can self-file. Because if you do think you have an appeal, from the time you're terminated, you only have 30 days to file an appeal with the American Citizens Protection Board. So I encourage you to go to Civil Service Strong, to go to our website, ourpublicservice.org, that's publicservice.org, and watch that webinar that we did with Democracy Board as well, so that you can figure out what your rights are.
Yeah. Be a plaintiff. Yes. Take it to court, right? File your appeal. Do everything you can. We have to fight back, right? This is the time to resist. So anything you can do to resist, anything you can do to fight back, please do it. And we have great organizations here to support you, and we will support you as well in Congress. So go ahead.
My name is Sarah Horton. I'm in Fairfax, Virginia. And every night, my husband and I watch the news. We watch the local news, and we watch 2 national news shows. And every night we're assaulted by propaganda from Trump. So we get a Trump advertisement, maybe 2 or 3, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, there's going to be a Democrat one to counter. I don't see one. I asked, we get the Democrats out there countering them. And not only in big markets like Washington, but in little towns, in small towns, even their VA hospital is losing the staff that runs the VA hospital in tiny towns. They're still saying, but Trump's for us. And these are small communities. So I just want you to voice out there more, and that's the money issue. Where are the billionaires for us? I know the
run an organization affected by the federal cuts, you can't serve people anymore, your organization, your institution, tell them why, right? Tell them that you cannot serve the people you normally serve because of these federal cuts, because of DOGE, right? That's not political, that's the facts, right? Everyone should know why the VA hospital is not functioning the right way. Everyone should know why their cancer trials are being canceled, right? So you need to get that information out. Thank you for that.
My name is Hunter Cummings. I am a self-advocate and proud to be autistic. I need to talk about the importance of Medicaid. Some people are saying Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security are safe and won't be touched except abusers. This may be the plan, but it's very easy for something to go wrong. We need to educate and to raise awareness with everyone who serves in Congress and to a small group of families that may not be affected. Medicaid can pay for health care, but many don't know this. This is the only public program to pay for long-term care. It's the only way for people with disabilities to get someone to help them get out of bed, be successful at work, and stay safe. In fact, more than 60,000 people in Virginia use Medicaid for caregivers, and thousands more are on waiting lists for these programs. What would happen if a program was cut and suddenly they didn't have this help to stay safe? Oh no! Medicaid keeps people out of expensive alternatives like hospitals and nursing homes. Medicaid is there for people with the most significant disabilities who need a lot of help and folks who do less. It's flexible and cost efficient and it saves lives. Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security simply cannot be reduced. They are more than benefits. They are lifelines. Please and thank you, Connor.
We're going to try to get through as many people as possible. Be good enough.
I'll try to do this. My name is Ariel. I'm an archivist with the National Archives. We've lost a lot of people. One of my colleagues, she just started a month ago, and she's now gone. And she came from San Antonio, Texas. And she just started getting loose. I'm very worried about the future of this. You're talking about starting with probationary, well, not probationary, but furloughed employees being the first ones to be laid off as a baseline of what OPM is looking for. And I'm wondering, what are you going to do about all of that? And secondly, I remember during the first administration that there were Democrats like John Lewis whose voice was booming in opposition. And I don't see that right now. I really hope that you will be the next John Lewis.
On the first, the things that they are doing, right, are illegal and unconstitutional. So yes, we'll take them to court. We were having a quick discussion of what happens if we take them to court, we win, and they don't comply, right? And so I know there's this process, right? You know, they can hold them in civil contempt and criminal contempt, right? But if in the end they ignore it, right? One thing we've seen is that judges get very angry, right? And so they'll send the U.S. Marshals out at certain people, right? And if they're still not complying, like maybe I'll put my job as a U.S. Marshal, be more helpful that way at least. But seriously, we need to take to the streets if that happens, because we're already in a constitutional crisis, and that's like the next level of crisis, is if they are ignoring the courts, which they projected they want to do. We cannot ignore that. We have to fight with everything we got. We already have to fight with everything we got. We really can't let that happen.
Controls the U.S. Marshals. So then what? And Trump controls the Supreme Court. That's the other thing. He goes crying to the Supreme Court. He's never held accountable. I apologize.
No, absolutely.
Never. He's never held accountable, and he gets out of every single thing. You've mentioned a lot of wonderful things that are being put forward at the beginning. You read down the list. People talking about a lot of great things, but it's gonna be all moot unless there is something done to hold that man accountable. He can't just say no, he can't throw money at lawyers, he can't throw money at the Supreme Court. That's the problem.
Okay, we're gonna do a hard stop in 10 minutes, so we don't have the room for much longer, so I go ahead and I go through the people. And I'm happy to stay and talk to people afterwards as well.
Thank you, Congressman. To keep it brief, I'm mom to a child with Medicaid. Because of Medicaid, she was able to be diagnosed with an acute form of schizophrenia. Hasn't been able to go to school in almost 3 years. I wanted you to see, another face of a family member that relies on that. And I'm not some user that we just watch a video and go out there on TV and I'm full-time about photo student. I don't know that I'll be anyone because the student loans are going away. My student loans currently are over $420,000 right now. That's 2 masters, completing the bachelor's, and of course my doctorate. That I'm in the middle of my dissertation, and I don't know that I'll be able to complete it. I may be a perpetual PhD candidate for the rest of my life because I won't be able to afford to complete the degree. So there's just so many challenges. Just wanted to do this, express that. And I want to help with any county with that.
In this era of partisanship, we need to look at the rare or often moments of bipartisanship. Everyone write this down. S146. The Take It Down Act of 2025. S146. Deepfake pornography is not illegal in every state. Deepfake pornography is illegal in Virginia, but not everywhere. The House of Representatives had the chance to pass this, but they sat off the passive ban, federal ban, on it, the Defiance Act of 2024, but they sat on it from July of last year to the end of last year. There needs to be a federal ban. We can't have a system where it's federally not banned to copy an adult or minor's face from a selfie and paste it in a porn video and make the victim look like they're in a porn video. All right? So if we do nothing else with Republicans, you're screwed included partially, we have to do that. I have other ideas for laws or federal constitutional amendments like DC statehood or term limits. No one should be on the Supreme Court for like 30 years. Also, everyone look up, these are not related to each other. Article 5 Convention, discharge petition, to the end of the impeaching President Trump, for breach of oath, among other high crimes, and Virginia Constitution, Article 1, Section 15A, and SJ 249 of this year. Basically, the Virginia Constitution, but for federal protections, bans the Commonwealth from recognizing gay marriage. The General Assembly next year needs to pass, according to Article 12, once again, pass the resolution so we, the voters, can protect gay marriage next year.
DOGE was never ever meant to uncover fraud or abuse or any other type of garbage that Trump has thrown down our face. If DOGE was built to uncover all the fraud, they would have started at the Capitol Hill or in the White House where all the power leaders are with the money. They would have brought in all the forensic accountants and financial people, professionals. I know this because I work at the IRS. My job is to get tax cheats. Millions of dollars I help to bring into the Treasury. Last week, I walked 13 of my new people out the door. 13. In the last 17 months, they were on my team. They were hitting hitting their stride, and now they're gone. And in another 2, 3, 4 years, they would be awesome. They'd be working on cases for tax cheats, maybe $5–10 million to the Treasury. And now they're gone. But you know what they said to me? They said, at least we're not being called villains anymore, and we'll be able to make a heck of a lot more money in the private sector. And last, the veteran who had to go, he said to me, I was a hero yesterday. I was called a villain for the last 6, 7 months, and today I'm fired. And that's just not the way America works.
Everyone in line, I'll stay till 9:30.
I'm going to try and move so quickly to you, first question. Curious if the Board knows of the cost of reading 2.5 million plus 5 board status reports each week. I think it supersedes the cost of reading these. And will Big Ball review each and every single one? I don't know this. I'm a federal contractor. I own a business, serving just the federal government for the last 26 years. I've got employees joining my phone right now, wondering if they have a job tomorrow. Many of them this week. I'm good with bad news. I'm not good being lied to. And right now, if you look at the cost savings for Doge on their site, it is erroneous. Their $1.2 billion claim at the IRS was not $1.2 billion. It was like $20 million spent, but they put the cost of the contract vehicle up on the site to claim it for the American people. Morale is at an all-time low. Why aren't 2 million federal employees filing a hostile work environment claim? Hostile work environment. I was told by 2 agencies in the last 2 weeks that they could not issue me awards until we cleaned off DEI off of our social media pages, our website, and every single one of my leaders' social media pages. This is not America. I'm an immigrant from a communist country. This isn't America. And we have to speak up. And I have to say, we're getting shot for speaking out. Our colleagues in the federal workforce are getting fired for speaking up. They can't fire you because we hired you. So they can't fire you, they can fire us. So please step up.
I'll be here till 9:30. But thank you so much for coming out. And we have lots of resources.